Hey guys, welcome back. Um, so today I was going to show you guys how to give our little synthesizer here the chorus effect. And what exactly is that? Well, if you can if you can imagine a choir, I really don't know where the name came from, but imagine a choir, and you have a bunch of different voices, different voice types, and different volume levels, different notes, just slightly different pitches, all singing at the same time. It makes the sound really big than if everybody had the exact same voice and sung at the exact same level and the exact same pitch. And so basically, today we're gonna, get to a couple steps of that process. We have different oscillator types now. We have three different oscillators we can work with. And today, what we're going to do is we're going to add some detuning functionality, um, otherwise known as the chorus effect, to our oscillators. And this is actually a pretty important thing. It's kind of the secret to how some of those synthesizers we know and love sound really big. Is you add a little bit of a chorus effect to it, and it sort of widens out the sound and makes it fuller. Um, so yeah, right now, whoops, did not have Reaktor selected. If we our synth is pretty boring at this point. I mean it's not too bad, but um, it's it could use a little juice. And what I had in mind was the chorus effect. So what how we're gonna go ahead and do that is open up. If you go down to your structure view, we're going to go into oscillator 1 and we're going to take a look. And so let's think about exactly what we're doing. We want to change the pitches, right? Slightly, just slightly, enough to, to give us the chorus effect. So basically how we're going to go ahead and do that is we're just going to add a knob to our filter. And I'm going to go ahead assuming that you've watched my other tutorials. You know how to work the interface a little bit, how to right click and select the things you need, and et cetera, et cetera. So I'm not going to bog you down with going over all that. I expect you to know the interface by now. So anyway, we have our knob selected. We'll go over to the properties. Okay, one last time. So make sure that the properties are selected. It automatically selects them usually when you click on a knob. Make sure we're in the function view, and we'll want to set the max. The maximum is actually exactly where we want it to be at 1, and we'll want the minimum to be at -1. So the reason for this is as we went over before, the pitch input of the oscillators, they take in MIDI notes, not audio signals, they take in commands that are interpreted as MIDI semitones and not necessarily frequency numbers. So when I hit number 69, note number 69 on my keyboard, which is A440 in actual frequency, it reads in the number 69, and it does some math and determines, okay, we're going to play A440 out of the oscillator. So basically, I guess there's a couple ways you could do it. You could either take the audio signal and detune it on the way out, but there's a much easier way, and the way that it's really meant to be done, I think, in Reaktor, is to do it at the MIDI level. And so we do that by, as we said, create a knob, and I'm just going to move this over. And notice this, we're working within oscillator 1 here. So if I drag this down around on the panel, notice that only the oscillator 1 stuff moves, and the other stuff is completely unaffected. And that's just the brilliance of Reaktor's modular design when it comes to structure and panel. Anyway, back to the topic. So let's just rename our knob real quick. We're going to rename it detune, I guess, be an appropriate name. And so we have our detuner knob. Turn off this tool view, and so you see we already have kind of an issue. Notice, let's say we don't want to detune our synthesizer. Well, that's kind of impossible because if you look at the values up here, it never lands on 0. And it only goes below 0 or above it, and there's just missing the number right there. So the way we're going to fix this is we're just going to go over to make sure you're in properties, make sure you have detune selected, properties, function, and down here we're going to go into number of steps. We're going to change this to 100, and it says 127 now. We want it to say 128, so that when we move our knob, it actually lands on 0. It's just sort of mathematical division that it needs to for it to land on 0, it needs to divide by an even number, right? So the number of steps is basically the resolution of the knob's accuracy, essentially. So we want to land on 0 if we don't want any detuning at all. Okay, so we got our detune knob set up. Now, let's see. How are we gonna put this in the signal chain? How are we actually gonna make it do what we need it to do? Well, going back on our previous learning, we're going to add a addition or an add module, built-in module math add, and we're just going to simply add the detune knob to the addition module, and we're going to delete the path between the pitch and the saw oscillators. Oh, it looks like I can select them all at once here. So I guess we're gonna want to give our detuner function. Well, I'll just show you one at a time. So let's just delete this one to the sawtooth wave, and I will send the pitch from the pitch to the adder, and then the adder to the P input on our oscillator. And make sure you have your sawtooth wave selected in oscillator 1. Make sure sawtooth is selected. And now we're gonna try out our detuner functionality and see if it's actually working. Whoa, 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 whoa. Let's see. Let's turn off all the other ones and let's just get the detuner working. So it's working. Excellent. Put it back at 0. So keep in mind it's going up 1 semitone. So if you play a C on a piano, this would basically be a C sharp. Actually, that's exactly what this is. This is a C. That's a C sharp. So okay, so we got our detuner, and now let's test it out with another oscillator. Let's turn on a sawtooth wave, and let's make sure that let's make these things equal. I'm going to take this down, make it a little filtered, take this up and bring it to the exact same value on oscillator 2. So oscillator 2 is turned on, oscillator 1 is turned on. They're both saw, good. Alright. So that sounds a little nasally, right? Let's add some detuner. See how that makes it sound a little tiny bit bigger, right? There's some, I guess I think it's a flanger is what that effect is, or, a phasor effect, where the frequencies, there are points where, since they're so close together in frequency, the two notes, there are points where they drift away from each other, and then, like subtract from each other and then add each other. So it creates this sort of effect. This is starting, it sounds a little bigger than if it was just, the notes were straight played together. So yeah, there's the detune effect. And now what we're going to do is we're going to add a little bit of, well, I guess one other thing you can do is you can add semitone functionality. So we only go up 1 and -1 semitones here. Let's add a full octave semitone switcher. And how we'll do that, first off, I'm just going to give myself a little bit of room over here, move the master fader over yet more, and I'm going to add another knob, and I'm going to call it semitone, I guess, semitone. It's pretty accurate. And I'm just going to do our little click and drag trick, and we're going to add it to our adder. Okay, so now we're going to want to set these ranges to 12 and -12 because there's 12 semitones in an octave, and that will be exactly what we want. We'll want to either go up 12 or down 12. And then I'm going to go over here and I'm going to change the number of steps to 24 so that we have nice even numbers to work with. So this is actually pretty cool, and I use this for my musical inspiration sometimes when I'm feeling dry on creativity. It allows you to basically use things called modes, but that's a whole nother topic. That's kind of unrelated, but you can get some cool sounds out of this now. So, for example, we have our, everything should sound the way it should, but then we add then we bump things up by semitones. So now we have two. They're an octave apart, our little waveforms. So if we make them a fifth apart, yeah. So yeah, there's semitone functionality, and you're thinking, wow, that's really cool. What if I add a little detune to that, huh? Now our synthesizer is starting to sound a little bit bigger, if you notice that. So yeah, you can make some really cool sounds with that. Well, that's really sweet. Well, why can't we have this functionality on all of it? On all of our synthesizers? Well, you could go through and you can do everything that we just went over in this video, and then sort of manually manipulate everything again and add things in and whatever. Or we could just click and drag, select everything in our little panel here, copy it, and let's paste it in the other oscillator. So we'll go up a level, and then we'll just go into oscillator 2. We'll delete everything, we'll select everything, delete everything that's in there, paste, and then we'll do the exact same thing for oscillator 3. Okay. Now we'll want to reconnect in the most outer view, I guess, of our synth. We're going to want to reconnect our gates and our pitches. Apparently that disconnected them when we deleted everything at once. So maybe that wasn't the smoothest way, but you get the idea. So there, now we have all the synthesizers. I'm just going to turn these off and make sure they're working one at a time. Let's see. Good. And turn that one off. Turn on the saw over here. Good. Turn on the triangle here. I'm not sure this one's working. Ah, you know, I did forget to do something. Notice, if you may have caught my mistake earlier, but notice that I only put the pitch to the sawtooth. Well, if we want to, we'll want to be able to detune all of our synths, right? All our oscillators. So just click and drag from the adder module and put them on the triangle module and the square. And now when we go, everything else is off here. Just test out oscillator 1. Now when we have our sort of 0, so we already know that one's working. Our triangle, that's working as well. Squirrel's working. So yeah, little details like that, man. I'm telling you, they really get you. So don't miss them. And if I do miss them, I have a feeling I've already missed them once in this video series, and if I miss them again, please let me know if you catch any mistakes that I make. I assure you I do my best to avoid them. I practice these before the videos to avoid as many mistakes as possible, but I guess some of them get through. So anyway, yeah, now we're going to want this for all of our synths. You know, so we have oscillator 1 fixed. We're going to have to fix oscillator 2. Make sure it's going to the P and not the A. Be careful about that. And oscillator 3, I'm going to want to fix that one too. So bam, bam, bam. Okay, so now we should have a beast of a synth right now. Just fix these little details. So yeah, obviously we're a little detuned, a little flat here. And let's add another saw. And whoa, that sounds really weird, huh? You can get one of those cool, like, sort of creepy effects if you, let's see, let's turn the semitones down here. So basically what I did here was I turned this one down to the I guess the dominant of the, you know, you don't have to worry about the music theory I'm talking about right now. That's a whole nother matter, but I have it I'm playing the dominant of the note, and I'm playing but an octave lower, and then I'm playing the dominant of this note in the next octave. So it's actually the same note being played but in different octaves. So it sounds kind of cool, you know, when you have two sawtooths that are in different octaves. Or you could just do that this way. Yeah, and adding octave, you know, that's the one helpful thing about the semitone is it adds octaves and makes your sound even bigger. So I have this one detuned slightly lower. And then to make it sound even just a little bit bigger, you can detune the opposite way on your second synthesizer. And then you can just have a triangle wave, and maybe you can have it down in the lower register, and it'll be your, you know, low end bass information. We'll have that flat, no detuning or resonance. Now you have sort of a, I don't know, yeah, sort of a little more of an, you know, each day we're making a more and more advanced synthesizer with each update. So hopefully you guys are catching on to how Reaktor's starting, how it works, how it processes information and some of the various modules. And throughout the course of these tutorials, I guess I should probably make it a focus to go over as many of the modules as I reasonably can, so that you guys understand how they work and what kind of information they manipulate and that kind of stuff. So anyway, I guess that's all I wanted to show you today. It's not looking like much, visually. I'll probably, one of these days, I'll show you guys how to add custom colors and images and buttons and knobs and all that juicy good stuff. But yeah, right now it's starting to sound okay. I guess I'm not 100% sure what I'll do next, but I guess don't be afraid to comment on these videos, guys. If there is something you really want to see or learn how to do, I will do my best. If I don't know it, I will learn it and then I will show it to you. But yeah, if you guys are commenting and you're all asking for different things, I will likely pick the one that gets the most comments and focus on that for the next video. And I know that some of you mentioned a while back you want to see how to use it as a plug-in in a DAW like Pro Tools or Cubase or something. I might do a couple of side videos like that, and I might also do a video on how to add how to use Reaktor as an effects processor, so that if you're really willing to get nitty-gritty, you can make vocoders and stuff. I don't know if I'll ever go over that, but hey, you never know. But anyway, thanks again for watching, and we'll see you next time.